Hello everyone. Um, Welcome. This is our latest edition of Global Market Access series, which we will be talking about the UK market a lot. Thank you for joining us. Let us know if you can hear us. And it will be great to know where are you guys joining and any of you are planning to expand in the UK or any other market. Feel free to use the chat and we'll try to keep it engaging. So yes, basically the session will be focused on the topic I think everyone is thinking of, when it comes to scaling, they consider the UK as a next stage, because UK is one of the biggest innovation ecosystems, but obviously it requires a bit understanding of local partners, investors, corporate partnerships. So that's why we wanted to make an informative session rather than open discussions. We invited a great number of speakers today, so I hope you find it useful. But maybe before that, I should introduce myself. So, for those I haven't met, I'm Eda Taskin. So I work with Tenity almost 2 years now as a business development manager in the UK. Before then, I was with Antler, another VC and accelerator, again in the UK, where I work quite closely with the early stage startups, help them on their operations, strategy, fundraising, and basically supported our portfolio to grow. In terms of our agenda, we will start with a short overview of UK startup ecosystem, VC investments, opportunities. Then we will move to our speakers. They will have short slides and presentations for you to talk about how they support the startups in the UK. And then we will probably have 15 minutes for the Q&A, but feel free to drop your questions, comments, anything. Feel free to use the chat. So we wanted to keep it very engaging and open discussion. Yes. So yes, as I mentioned, UK is one of the biggest hub in globally, but also in Europe. There are so many economic uncertainties in the market over the past couple of years, but we still see a strong momentum across venture capital, fintech, AI, and technology. So in this slide, there are so many stats, but it really highlights the scale and momentum of the UK ecosystem. As of Q1, we AI startups raised 5.8 billion and a total VC money was 7.8 billion, which is quite high compared to last quarter Q1. I think what is very important to highlight here is the AI driven investments, which represent almost 3/4 of the all UK VC funding during the first quarter. And then when it comes to broad European VCs, London is almost 41% of the entire European venture capital. So, and beyond London, we're also seeing a growth in Manchester, Leeds, Oxford, and another part of the UK. Next slide, please. Yes, one of the, again, important trend is the conviction of the investors in scale-ups. So as you could see here, Q1 showed 60% increase year over year. So that's a great sign of why the startups, prefer scaling in the UK before going to US or any other international markets. That's why we wanted to bring that topic as a part of our, series. In the next slide, I just wanted to put a couple of the largest VC roundings for the UK market. Again, AI is leading the sector in terms of the technology and things, but there are also a lot of autonomous driving, voice technology, software. You might be familiar with a couple of names here. So that's also a good sign. But on the other side, obviously, for lenders who are entering the UK market, there are obviously high competition when it comes to hiring, visibility, or positioning. So we will talk about all of these as a part of this webinar. So the next one just shows that AI basically dominates the VC money. 74% of the investment went to AI companies. As you could see, fintech and health tech is quite consistent year over year, but we have 2,300 startups just building in AI technology, so which is great. This one is just to show you how big the UK compared to other European markets. UK VC money, again, we talk about like 7.8 billion, which is bigger than France, Netherlands, and Germany combined. So that's a great sign for startups, again, like why they should scale and try UK compared to other European markets. Obviously, there are other things that we will highlight, but I just wanted to, bring it to your attention again. So the next one, I mean, you probably know Tinity, but just I want to, tell a little bit of our story. We have 6 countries around the globe. We have started in Switzerland, then we expanded in London, Singapore, across Europe. What we do is we bring startups, corporates, investors, and governments through our connected ecosystem. So this is just showing, our unique business model, which is a kind of hybrid model, combining both like innovation partnerships, venture capital, and also startup. This kind of allows us to help our startups to connect them with our corporate partners and also give them access to other ecosystems or geographies that we have presence in. Next one, please. So just a quick snapshot of our portfolio. We have 304 companies and currently managing 220 million AUM. We have obviously mainly in fintech companies in our portfolio. Then we have a lot of obviously AI, Web3, and other emerging technologies. Last year, we have selected as one of the most active VCs in Europe by Sifted. I think this was also a great acknowledgement. And the last one, promise last one, or corporate partners. So I mentioned that one of the biggest differentiation compared to other VCs that we run those innovation programs for our corporate partners. So our startups also get access to the work with these big names. So we have designed various programs depending on the client's innovation goals. So yeah, you can scan the code, check our programs. You can explore if there are any like interesting programs that you want to join, or if you want to, know more, you can just reach out anytime. With that, I guess I can bring our first speaker, Joshita, from Innovate Finance, so she can share more insights on fintech ecosystem and maybe international scaling opportunities. Over
Hello.
to you, Joshita.
Thank you, Ada. Thank you for that introduction, and it's lovely to be here amongst all the speakers. So I'm Joshita. As Ada mentioned, I work in the membership team at Innovate Finance. And yeah, I'm happy to talk more about what Innovate Finance offers. So I specifically spend a lot of time working with our startups and scale-up members. So I'm really happy to be on this webinar today. So, to give you a quick introduction about Innovate Finance, we're the industry body for UK fintechs, and our mission really is to support all our members and lead the sort of next generation of tech-led innovators who are part of the big UK fintech community. And we've been around for more than a decade now, so it has been such a great experience working with Innovate Finance as well. can I move oh yeah, perfect. Great. So our main focus is three key areas. So our members sit at the heart of it. So one is convening and connecting. So we do a lot of that through our programs and our events, and we champion and promote UK fintechs here in the UK and also internationally as well. And a very big focus area for us is to advocate and lobby and be the voice for UK fintech. So that is our mission. And our key initiatives, which you might have heard and seen around, is of course our flagship summit, the Innovate Finance Global Summit, which literally just got over on the 21st of April, which we also run the UK FinTech Week. And we do other initiatives in another conference, which is actually coming up in October, called FinTech as a Force for Good. And last year, we've also launched RecTech UK, and also our work has continued with the Digital Pound Foundation as well last year. So lots of key initiatives that we do at the heart of Innovate Finance. So to touch quickly on our priority programs, so as I mentioned earlier, convening and connecting is a big part of our mission. So the first one is, of course, skills, talent, culture, and governance is big for us. So we lead on diversity programs like Women in FinTech Powerlist, Pride in FinTech Powerlist, which we do every year. And very happy, and diversity sits at the heart of everything that we do here at Innovate Finance. And investment and growth is the second one, which I personally lead on as well. So we do an annual landscape report that looks at the amount of investment that goes into fintech every year, not only here in the UK, but also globally. So at the back of it, we do lots of events. And as I mentioned earlier, FinTech as a Force for Good is a conference which is coming up in October. And regulation, policy, and thought leadership is big for us because we stand as a voice for fintechs. So shaping policy and regulation is key focus for us. And international connectivity and scaling. So we also do, we're very well connected with the national networks here in the UK and also internationally with our counterparts as well. Great. Can I? Yes, perfect. To give you a little bit of context about our members, so as I mentioned earlier, we work with really early stage companies like pre-seed, seed level, up to scale up companies. And we also do have the highest growth fintechs here in the UK, like the Revoluts, Monzo, Starlings, who work with us very closely. We have the big techs, the Google, Apple, Amazon, the professional services firms, and also banks. So I would say we're very well connected with all the key stakeholders in the fintech ecosystem. To give you more context on the sort of membership base that we have. And yes, so we do a lot of thought leadership pieces, and I thought today I would touch a little bit on, and Era did in the previous presentation as well, on our investment landscape report that we do every year. So we did one and for 2025, and I wanted to share the sort of key insights very quickly. So this in 2025, payment sector was seen as the major issuer of capital, both globally and in the UK. And to also flag very successful fintech Revolut placed 3 billion in secondary market transactions, illustrating the strength of a successful UK fintech investment case. And of course, to mention it first, actually, the UK retained its second place globally following a tight battle with India, but the UK received 3.6 billion investment, with India close behind with 3.4. But the UK, however, saw the funding allocated across 534 deals, which is more than twice the number of deals that India had. So it is reflecting a sort of broader environment here in the UK. And as Era touched on the previous presentation as well, the UK was leading in the European market once again, so securing 3.6 billion across with France and Germany following. With France raised about 1.8 billion, and I think Germany raised about 997 million. So both countries significantly attracting funding across, but UK being the in the forefront. And so this is the sort of highlights that I wanted to share from the report, but happy to chat more if you're interested. And of course, if you're interested about Innovate Finance and any other support that we offer, please do feel free to reach out to us. And thank you, Ada, for putting this together. And thank you, Tanity, for having me today.
Of course. Thank you, Joshita. I think that gives a really strong overview of the fintech ecosystem and landscape. Now, I would like to bring Vinay from Inventia. So he will talk about practical, I think, insights and some hits about how to navigate in the UK innovation ecosystem. Over to you, Vinay.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ada. And hello to everybody who are joining from different part of the this world. It's nice and sunny in Manchester, which is not often happen. So glad to be speaking with you guys. I'm Vinay Chauhan. I am the managing director of Inventia Limited. Just quickly about Inventia, we are a innovation management consultancy based in the northwest of the UK, but we spread over 3 different continents, closer to 100 people. We are quite active in the ecosystem, supporting UK and European companies accelerate the commercialization journey of their deep technologies. We work with closer to 400, 500 businesses each year, primarily focus on 3 main verticals. One is funding and finance. So we are quite active in the ecosystem, helping companies raise funding and finance using non-dilutive and dilutive forms of instrument. We also do a lot of work on the internationalization, where we support UK companies to penetrate markets internationally and vice versa as well. And we also work quite closely with public sector bodies in the UK, like Innovate UK, etc., where we develop specific programs for them as well. If you go back to the previous slide quickly, sorry, yeah, just wanted to quickly touch on the key point here that it's very much focused on fintech, but I understand there will be people in the audience which are from different sectors as well. But just wanted to quickly highlight on the fintech side, that is one of the, we all know, one of the largest ecosystem in whole Europe, I think globally number 2 as well. And one of the key feature with the UK ecosystem, especially around fintech and deep tech, is closer to 24.5 billion of investment, which has been raised by companies here. So it's booming. It's quite an amazing state. And if you look at the influence of the AI, as Ada mentioned, this is just a start. So if you haven't thought about, or if you haven't sold on the UK promise, I'm sure after the end of this today's session, you will be more sold on that one. If you move to the next slide, please. Thank you. So yeah, I thought to give you a very quick overview of how the ecosystem operates in the UK. And again, it is not just focused on fintech. It could be from every sector. And those who are online, I'm sure if you are looking to set up in the UK, the first question your board member or your co-founders or your team will be asking, where do we start? How do we go about it? Who are the key players? How does it work? So I hope some of the information here, and by the way, it's not rocket science, it's all available in public domain as well. The name of the game is awareness and the right timing. So we primarily describe the UK ecosystem into 3 layers. The first layer is public sector. The second layer is private sector, and the third layer is institutional. And at each vertical, the most important theme is at what stage you access them. You don't need to access all of them in one go, but if you understand the timing of accesses them, then it will massively de-risk your market entry strategy in the UK. It will also help you scale quite faster in the UK as well. Can you move to the next slide, please? Just quickly want to touch on the public sector one, and these are some of the initiatives I put there. There are a lot of them as well, considering we only have a small amount of time. The one I would like to highlight is the Innovate UK grants. As I mentioned, that we specialized a lot in helping companies identifying what are the non-dilutive form of capital. And look at it this way, that if you're building your market strategy in the UK, every pound you raise in non-dilutive capital is the pound you will save in the form of giving equity away, especially when you will be at your most vulnerable, especially when you are finding new partners, new first customer, going through the regulatory approvals or compliance approvals. And if you're looking to raise in the UK, then I think grants will be your one of your best friends. So having an understanding of which UK grants you can tap into, because if you have already set up in the UK, you can tap into lots of regional and the national level grants. Do Google about Innovate UK. Is one of the most amazing organization in the UK, which funds the R&D activities in the country, closer to 1 billion plus. There are lots of foreign companies which enter into the UK who are considering doing the R&D in the UK, use Innovate UK grants to build their R&D capabilities, to prove their product market fit, And that adds quite a big tick in terms of their credibility, and also when they go and look to raise money via the investors as well. If you are based in countries where there are UK embassies, do sign up with those embassies, because this way you will find out about the trade missions which are coming into the UK in different regions as well. Again, it doesn't cost you much. These are mostly fully funded, but it will give you a really good early access to the UK ecosystem. The only cost is your time. So please keep an eye on that one. Can you please move to the next slide? This is the second layer, which we called the private ecosystem. In order to access your first client, first pilot, first letter of intent, first investment, I think the private ecosystem can help you massively. We call it borrowed credibility. The reason for that is because if you're going to start in the UK from scratch, building the credibility is going to be the most critical element which you will face. This is a ecosystem where trust is massively valued. If you're going to chase revenue from day one, it will be a very long journey. What we have found with some of the most successful companies, that how they build their credibility by accessing the right private partnerships, whether it's joining accelerator, whether it's joining corporate program. So please do keep an eye on. 1080 guys runs a brilliant initiative, so that could be one of the key ones. And I would always suggest to the companies that look for the sector specific accelerators rather than the generic ones, because that will give you a lot of information on the regulatory compliance side, also connectivity with the right kind of investors. If you are looking to set up companies, then do keep an eye on EIS, SEIS initiatives. If you're looking to raise money in the UK in 6 months, 12 months, 24 months of your journey, some of these initiatives can massively make you attractive for potential investors in the UK. And like I said, it's you don't need to access all these verticals in parallel. You can basically structure your strategy as long as you are aware what is the risk which any of these verticals will remove for you, and when is the right timing. That is the only that is the only thing we emphasize a lot on, and there's a lot of information in public domain around some of these verticals as well. If you move to the next one, please. The third layer, we call it institutional, which is often overlooked in the UK. There's so many amazing initiatives like KTPs, knowledge transfer partnerships. If any of you are looking to develop R&D capabilities in the UK, especially accessing talent, then do search knowledge transfer partnerships. What basically it gives you is access to some of the most amazing universities in the UK, their access facilities, and also you can hire PhD students, and 70% of their salaries are covered by this initiative as well. This gives you a really amazing credibility when you are associated with a university. It carries a lot of credibility in the UK ecosystem. Plus, if you have PhD students working for you in your venture, then it also gives you future workforce as well. And again, industry bodies, Innovate Finance, by the way, Joshit and I didn't plan it. It was already in my slides.
Oh, wow.
Do try to access some of these sector specific organizations as well, sector bodies, because they will give you a seat in front of the policymaker. You will be quite well versed in terms of what's coming in the ecosystem, and also the networking element, which do wonders to the company. What we always say is, this layer actually can compress your 18-month go-to-market strategy into 3 to 6 months, because just by doing the cold reach out to the partners, you're not going to go too far. But if you structurally build your ecosystem approach by understanding at what stage you need each vertical, that will massively help you in your journey. And in closing, I would say in these 3 verticals as well, the public sector, private sector, and institutional, that you need to be clear about 3 main things: that what is one customer segment you want to target in the UK, what is traction means for you in the next 6 to 12 months, and who will be the decision maker. If you have short answers to these 3 things, then I think tapping into some of these ecosystem will make a massive impact in your journey. Can you move to the next slide, please? I hope, Ada, these slides will be shared. So please do look at this link, irrespective of which sector you come from. If you want to identify which regions in the UK you should consider about setting your base or building partnerships, you can select most of the key sectors there. And this interactive map will show you which are the main collaborative regions for which sectors, how the hubs are developing. It's quite an amazing tool, which is developed by DCIT, one of the government agencies. So please do try to use it. Next slide, please. And just quickly in closing, that how we can help, non-dilutive capital is one of the primary vertical we operate in. So we can help companies build their R&D strategy in the UK and how they tap into non-dilutive capital, R&D tax credit as well. This is amazing initiative from the UK government, where every pound you spend into R&D, you can get at least 20 to 33% pence back. So do keep an eye on this initiative as well. Connectivity with universities, we work quite closely with. So if you are building projects, once you set up in the UK, we're more than happy to connect you with the right talent, right universities. And also any warm welcome companies needed to accelerators like Tenety, VCs we operate with. We are more than happy to connect companies to those. So I think I'm already out of time. Apologies.
Yeah.
So I'll take a stop there.
Thank you
Apologies,
so much,
Ada.
Vinay. No, that's
Uh,
quite important. A lot of useful information. We will share the slides, but I think that ecosystem perspective is incredibly valuable. So thank you so much. Now we have Emanuela from London and Partners. She will talk about the support system in London and how they kind of like support the inward and outward startups. So over to you, Emanuela.
Thank you so much, Ada, and thanks again for the invite. It's great to be here. So just to introduce quickly myself, my name is Emanuela. I'm a Senior Inward Investment Manager at London and Partners. And in my presentation today, as Ada mentioned, I would try to give a very quick overview of the support we provide and the work that we do to help companies to set up in London. We saw on the presentation before all about the UK as an organization. We just cover London as the entire city. We can go to the next slide. So for those of you that don't know London and Partners, we are the growth agency for London. Our mission is to generate growth for London that's resilient, sustainable, and inclusive. So these are the principles that drive all our activities. We are a social enterprise and we receive grants by, for example, the Greater London Authority, so the Mayors of London office, by private partners, and some grants from the government as well. We can go to the next slide, please. We do lots of different type of things, not just related to the business side, but for example, we work to grow the London reputation globally. We work to make London the destination for visitors and major events. And we do lots of these things in partnership with other ventures that help us deliver all the content that we provide. On the business side, as I mentioned, we help, and I'm sitting on the foreign direct investment team. So we help tech companies, high growth tech companies that are looking to set up their business in London. But we also have a program that supports London-based companies to expand overseas. So you will see a lot of companies using London to scale in other markets as well, or using the UK in general to scale in other markets as well. And we also have other programs. So with Behind London Tech Week, we have a Grow London Local. So it's quite a big offering, but we can share the information. And our main office, as in London, but we do have offices in the US, in Europe, India, and China, where these are considered the core markets. But then we, of course, work with companies globally. And the colleagues in market, they are a great point of contact for both. For international companies that want to know more about London, but also for London-based companies that are looking to expand in their own market. We can go to the next slide, please. This gives you an idea of the type of support that we can provide. But just want to mention that all the work we do, especially for international companies, but also the program, are free and confidential. and the support is tailor-made with the company's needs. For example, been working with companies that they weren't 100% sure that London was the right destination for them, so they were still looking for information, and we able through our insight team to provide some initial information to help companies to make an informed decision. But we can also work with companies that already done their due diligence, and perhaps they're facing some challenges around navigating the ecosystem, operational aspect, and we can direct the companies to the right people, to the right stakeholders, and also inform about the right events as well. We also have a talent team, and we do organize our own events as well to help all our communities, so international companies and London-based companies, to get the most of the networking and opportunity to engage. We go to the next slide, please. I'm not going to cover this much because we already touched on a lot of these aspects, but you can find this type of information for the fintech sector because it's where I mainly work with. But we do have this type of data for all the other tech sector as well. So if you go to our Grow London website, happy to send it to Ada so she can share it. You can find all some initial information, and we of course we happy to speak anytime if you have any question. Thank you. I think you have my email here, so happy to be reached out.
Thank you so much, Emanuela. Very efficient, and yes, we will be sharing the slides. So, to close out the speaker section, I think I would like to bring Alper in from Forte. He's actually an exited founder. He also works directly with a lot of early stage and growth stage startups on growth, go-to-market, commercial traction. So I will just leave the stage for Alper. Over to you.
Thank you, Ada. A very efficient webinar so far. Everyone doing a good job keeping time management well. Do I manage my own slides, or will you be so kind to move? Great. So maybe we can go to the next slide already. As Ada mentioned, I'm an ex-founder. I've done the market expansion, UK entry a couple of times as a CRO, as a founding first employee, and eventually as a ex-SaaS founder myself. And I've built Forte Growth last year, and ever since I've been working with lots of early stage startups, mostly in B2B SaaS and fintech, a lot of AI, some deep tech as well, in helping them with their growth strategy, go to market, especially pre-seed to Series A, where you need to do a lot of things, but you don't have a lot of resources. So we work on actioning their go-to-market strategy so they can try a lot of different tactics, from outbound to different sales and marketing tactics that you can in a new market. I want to approach this a little bit more practically with maybe some tips, tools, strategies that people can use. I don't know exactly what stages the founders are on this audience, but I'm assuming a lot of them are early stage. So the thing is, to level set a little bit, it's really difficult to enter a new market, especially now, although AI seems to make things easier. A lot of times, a lot of people are going to look for shortcuts to do things with AI without getting their essentials set. So I want to talk about a little bit like which tactics are available to you and how to go into a new territory, and how to make sure that your tactics are the right ones. As you can see, this is a bit of a research from a VC operator in the US, who has done some research into the different tactics that founders use when they're trying to enter into new markets or when they're trying to establish their go-to-market channels. A lot of us will try things like LinkedIn SEO, warm, cold, outbound, and answer engine optimization is very popular right now. Some of us will launch a podcast to be visible with our potential audiences. We'll start paying into PR. We'll look for AI SDRs, etc. The point is, there's lots of different tools available. So in order to understand which ones are the right ones for you to use without losing time, money, burning, hiring, firing, etc., you need to be a little bit more intentional about which channels you need to use. And that's kind of usually the first step that I try to do with founders when I start working with somebody, because you need a mix of things to generate leads and volume fast. But at the same time, volume itself alone doesn't work. A lot of times people will come to me, they're doing outbound, they're trying to reach out to their potential buyers. nobody's responding, their reply rates are low, or they're booking meetings, but people are ghosting them after the meetings, etc. And that's mostly because outbound alone doesn't work. You need to be also running marketing activities to build trust, credibility, and authority. And I think it was one of the speakers who mentioned, join an accelerator who's like a sector vertical one so they can make the intros for you. Great. That can be your very short-term gain. Moving to the next slide. I'm going to try to bring a few examples and key learnings from what works and what doesn't when you're trying to enter a new market, and especially the UK. These are from actual client work that we do and things that I've tried in the past and failed with, or things that my clients are working on and maybe they can use a bit of improvement. Generally, people try to enter a new market with obviously an existing playbook, or the opposite, with no existing playbook. So it's either one of those. But in both situations, you need to be really mindful that when you're entering a new market, things will be different. Your buyer, your messaging, your positioning, etc., they all need a bit of, obviously, customization. And without needing to spend lots of time, money on maybe consultancies, what you can do is adapt this very test, iterate, improve fast kind of mindset, which is easier said than done. But as a founder, I'm sure a lot of people here are building their products, or they are product first or technical founders, but bringing a bit of like test, iterate, improve mindset from iterating your product and applying that to your go-to-market strategy would be the best thing. So here's an example of, for example, how I work with a French prop tech company. They raised their Series A, and after being successful in France through the first network of the founder, they got to 600K ARR through a bit of PR, and their VCs introduced them to the right people, etc., etc. But when they tried to enter the UK with the same kind of PR heavy approach, did some paid features, paid SEO without nailing the message market fit for a UK audience. And the founder was burning money. And that's the point where they brought me in. And the real issue there, and generally the real issue, what we discovered very quickly in the very first weeks of interacting with a new founder, is you need to really understand that persona, who they are, where do they hang out, where do they get their information, because you need to think that the base of sale is trust. So obviously in your existing market, in your core market, you will have trust through your existing networks. But how do you imitate that trust in a new market is really key. And sometimes you can buy that trust through lots of different ways like PR, paid ads, etc. But sometimes you need to build that trust from the ground up. And the best place to start is always knowing your buyer and who you're going to be targeting, and also have this test mindset. Like, do not be stuck on one ICP, one persona for 3 months. Maybe try to come up with a version where you have 10 campaigns you want to test. You go after one for 3 weeks, get the results in, see how they're doing, and try to iterate your strategy fast so you're not burning time and money. And the third pillar is make sure that you are targeting them at the right events, you're appearing in the right publications, etc., etc. I'll give some examples of this as much as the time allows me. Maybe next slide. So here is a founder that came to me a few weeks ago. Again, a Turkish founder, my fellow Turkish founder. I'm also Turkish, if you didn't realize from my accent. And what they came to me with, like, okay, we have Nike, we have Decathlon, we have so many large retail customers who are using our product for themselves, but since I've launched in the UK, I'm really struggling getting any traction at all here. And although he thought the product is great, it works for a certain audience, obviously what doesn't travel with this founder is trust, as I mentioned. So trust doesn't travel. You need to, if you're chasing clients without that, it's going to be a waste of time. So what we do as a very first step is to figure out, is your ICP clear in the new market that you're entering? Are you going to be going after the same type of enterprise or SMB client? Once you establish that, is your messaging working with this audience? So how are you going to test it? Are you going to do some outbound? Are you going to be doing some ads to test that quickly without burning a lot of money? Before you hire, especially as a founder, it's really important to keep certain things in-house. I always encourage founder-led sales, but of course, then you need to build a bit of a system. So who do you hire? Who do you trust with building the system versus you as a founder What you need to do is a slippery slope that we diagnose in the very first bit of the work that we do together. But generally, things are not as difficult as you might imagine. Sometimes if you were using a lead gen agency to do it in-house, in your core market, maybe you can start looking for a lead gen agency who might do it at a fraction of the cost for you in a new market. Or for example, if you were running paid ads in your home market that were working well, you can test with 500 pounds on a LinkedIn, 1,000 on an Instagram, whatever your channel is, before you start spending 10,000 on the channel in a new market, because again, the ICP might be slightly different, the messaging might be slightly different. So you need to make sure that you're testing these things before you sink some money into these channels. Next slide. So this is an interesting and nice example of how we're implementing this for a B2B SaaS client that we're working with. This is a well-established company, 5 years. They've got to just over 3 million ARR through the efforts of the founders. And they never had an established marketing function or they never found the right person to work with on the marketing side. But what we've been doing with them, for example, is before we go into the UK from Turkey, we started first testing some more adjacent markets. So for example, we started testing with Dubai, Gulf countries, CIS, a bit more cultural proximity in those countries, where we can test the definition of the ICP, where we can define exactly what kind of trust building activity we need to run for that audience. Again, like which review sites we need to be on, are we going to spend some money on PR agencies, etc., etc. But the good thing is that allows you to make mistakes in a market where you're allowed to make mistakes before you enter a market like the UK or the US, where competition might be really high. These are obviously well-established Western markets where your content, your branding, etc., might need to be really top of the game. So before you put your best foot forward in a market like the UK, what you can do is test some of these things in an adjacent market. And I implement the same strategy with as part of another accelerator I work with in the Balkans, or with some Italian founders, where we try to test things in a Spanish market, and after that maybe go into the UK once you make those mistakes, or maybe you get your learnings from those, and obviously then you can get some better results in a less forgiving market like the UK. If we go to the next slide, and probably the last slide, here are a few different tactics that you can try and how you can sequence your go-to-market in the UK. So for example, this is on the bottom left, and really nice strategy. I'm sure you've heard of this expression called true fans. It's one of the non-scalable tactics that you can try as an early stage, pre-seed, seed, maybe even Series A founder, creating a cluster of maybe 100, 200, or 1,000 of your target audience, and really going deep on those audiences and making sure that those people are going to be the ones that will convert into your true fans. So not only your users, but people who will actually talk about your product to their friends, to their networks, etc., really well. If you pick a certain defined community and if you double down on that community and try to convert them into true fans who will speak about your product without you necessarily putting money into it, is probably going to be the best thing. As you know, referral is the best channel and cheapest channel that any founder can use. So by doubling down on something like that, that can be your first strategy. Another strategy that we try is an edtech founder that I work with. And the founder was like, okay, now I've my first network of 100 of target audience has expired. Now I need to go after new people. How am I going to do it? Maybe I should start doing some SEO or paid ads. And I said, before you do that, maybe you can use some of those first buyers and start hosting private dinners where you invite 20, 30 people into a dinner, and you will have 2 or 3 people from your existing buyer group come into those dinners and talk about how much they enjoy working with you or how they benefit, etc. So this can be a nicer way, because again, you need to build the trust. So you start with your first network and do it in a closed loop group, versus go pay 10, 20,000 on paid ads where people will have no way of creating those referral loops for you because they won't be hearing about your product from a trusted. Obviously, these things take with a caveat. What I try to do is bring examples to inspire people. But if you're selling like a product-led product, which costs $40, $50 to try, then of course you might not need to put people in a dinner because they're just going to put $50 in a credit card and try your product. But if you're trying to sell something to an SME or enterprise audience, these might be tactics you can try. With that, maybe I should pause or stop. I don't know how I'm using my time. So those are just some of the ideas.
Yes, maybe we can wrap up here, but you can share your contact details. I'm sure if there are any founders who would like to talk to you, they can reach out.
For sure.
I think we shared a lot of practical insights already. I hope you find it useful. Maybe you can show our market access playbook, Elif. If any
Yep,
of
coming.
founders are interested, yeah, you can. Can't see it yet. So if anyone interested in learning more about UK market and what are the, again, like the ecosystem players and things, we have a long playbook which is available on our website. You can just scan the QR code, I think, to download it. With that, I would like to open it for the question. I don't know if Maria has a question because she was raising hand. So maybe it was not on purpose. Yeah. Does anyone have any question? Feel free to unmute yourself or you can put in the chat.
Hi guys,
If
I'm
not,
also here.
yeah,
No, I think
maybe
they
I
cannot
will
unmute
do-
themselves. So
Okay.
maybe they can use like chat or the Q&A function. Maria, if you have any questions, let us know. I think we need to make them panelists. Okay, now talking permitted. Now I can see if she has a question, maybe she can. But it might not be. Anyway, like if she's not going to talk, like thank you very much. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's always an easy thing, and all of you shared like some tips, which is great. Always well appreciated by the founders. Anything that might be relevant to our audience? Like, I think there might be a few engagements that you guys are going to plan to do. Like, I don't know, Emanuela, if you are going to be in like Money 2020, probably around like London Tech Week, they can find you, and probably just Shita and Vinny as well. Alper, if you have any other like events that you are going to be physically attending, maybe that's a nice time for us to also like plug ourselves in. And Eda, let me know. We have that. By the way, for the dear audience members, if you have the questions, maybe you'd like to share it on like chat so we can read it for everyone and maybe answer them as well if it's not working.
I mean, we have some frequently asked questions, especially maybe for Vinay on like grants, because this question comes from a lot of founders. How important are the grants or non-dilutive financing that you mentioned during the international expansion? So what would be your suggestions for founders in terms of getting ready to apply it? So maybe
Yeah, I think this is something we get asked a lot as well in the early stages, and we always advise that when companies are setting up their base in the UK, it's quite important for them to think about what kind of company structure they would like to have it, because different structure will give them access to different fundings. I think the regional funding matters a lot as well. We can see Golden Triangle in the UK, the Cambridge, London, Oxford area, which attracts a lot of regional funding. So I think the location matters as well. For Innovate UK side of things, most of the funding is focused on R&D, depending on your technology readiness level, whether you are TRL 3, 6, 9. So having an advisor upfront, and there is a lot of support available. And these advisors in the market, especially through public sector, whether it's Innovate UK or some others, it doesn't cost you anything. They can sit down with you, understand your R&D journey, and also map that what kind of instruments are available in the ecosystem, which you can prepare for. When it comes to grants, we always have the two sides, like the one side where it is over romanticizing with the grants that this is the world, and the other side is where they're too bureaucratic or they're too slow. I think the balance is somewhere in the middle. They do make a massive difference in the journey of the companies as long as they are for the right reason. It's not a free money in terms of, hey, it's a publicly funded, so I'll get it and I'll do X, Y, Z. It's not a free money. It does require a lot of tight commitment. It does require a lot of reporting. It also requires a lot of preparation, especially you're working with the right R&D partners. So think carefully about the options, but Innovate UK is one of the primary vehicles you can use. On the UKRI website, maybe I can drop the link as well. You can search the grants, and it's not only grants, it's other options like loans as well. If you are already in 12 months of your journey, quite advanced in terms of TRL level, showing enough traction, then some very attractive debt vehicles available through the public sector as well. But you do consider this in your journey, because they will massively help you stretch the runway when you are looking to raise in the country, and raising money in this current climate is not a 3 months or 6 month journey. If you will be very lucky if you can do it, or please let me know who's doing it.
Thanks, Vinny. There are a couple of questions before we have only 7 minutes left. I would like to go through them because just to give an option. So Aman is asking, what are some most common challenges for founders when they starting to business in the UK? So just if you can give some short answers, that will be helpful from your perspective.
For me?
For everyone.
Everyone, yeah.
Okay, anybody wants to take on it?
I can go with this one. I think when I speak to a lot of startups that are setting up in the UK, one major thing is, of course, embedding into the ecosystem is a definite challenge, especially if you're an international startup and you're new to the country and the ecosystem. So I think it's very good to establish the trust factor in the early stages. So that's where the partnership conversations take place, the investment conversations take place. So I think most of our startups and scale-ups, when they join our community, they find it very valuable to go to events like Partnerships Day, which is very useful to have those direct connections and conversations. And if not, sign a deal or anything in solid, but at least it's a gateway to get those conversations started. So one of the challenges that they face is eased through communities like London Partners, Innovate Finance. So I think that's one of the key sort of challenge that I keep hearing from a lot of our early stage companies. But feel free to add on to it if there are any that the panelists think could be relevant.
If I can add one quick, I completely agree with Joshita. That one is probably one of the most big challenges that companies are facing. But we should probably also consider on the operational side. Sometimes can be a bit complicated to open a bank account. What's the visa process if you're looking to relocate someone here? So there is no impossible. It's just make sure that you have all the right information in place. You know how much could take, how long could take, how much could cost for you to put everything in place as well. And there are lots of support out there that can drive you to the right partners and the right companies as well that perhaps can help.
Thank you, guys. There are so many other questions. I don't know if we will have time for that, but the next one is from Bura. He's asking, we have SEIS eligible London-based startups. Which route is the best for SEIS investments? Maybe you can clarify, Bura. You feel free to unmute yourself. What do you mean in terms of the next route? Great.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
I cannot see myself, but I can hear my voice anyway. So we have this Mysticist Ltd. We incorporated in 2024, and we got this SEIS eligibility this month. And we applied to few Few, how can I say, angel networks, but I'm not so sure if we are doing the right thing or not. So yeah, so which road is the best idea to take to get this 250K SEIS eligibility investments from angel investors? So what are the best practices over there?
Shall I pick this up if that's okay?
Yeah.
Very quickly, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I will do very quickly. Yeah, I think it's a great question. For the SEIS, I think we always suggest that it's the investor profiling is one of the key things which you probably need to focus on. That who are the investors you are targeting, whether they have the funds or the mandate to invest under SEIS. So my starting point will be with that to look at in locally. I wouldn't even focus only on the locally, but at the national level as well, that which are based on your sector, based on your technology, based on the application as well, and also the technology readiness level, that which are the key investors in the UK, which are focusing on SEIS investment. There are some platforms as well, Angel Investment Network, AIN, which you can also explore. You can sign up to that platform where you can list your proposition, work with their team, and if there's a right synergy, they will promote your proposition to their group of angel investors as well, which most of them are SEIS certified. So there are multiple routes you can take, starting from the profiling of the investors at the national level, but also some of the paid platforms like Angel Investment Network and others, which specialize into SEIS investments.
Thank you so
Cool.
much, Vinay.
Thank you.
Ariel, maybe you can ask your questions online. It's pretty long. Do you want to just unmute yourself and ask to
I was
speak?
trying to keep it concise. Apologies for
Yes,
that.
please. Go ahead.
Thank you,
Please go ahead.
everyone, for the presentation. Good to see you, Emanuela. Yeah, so my question is just the balance between getting, more credibility from organizations. So my company is a B2B2C fintech company that launches embedded investing and wealth management. So from my perspective, things are very different here in the US as it is in the UK. Is it helpful to get sort of the credibility and sort of stamp of approval from the different financial organizations before going out and doing marketing campaigns to sort of build that credibility in the beginning? Or is it okay to kind of just jump in and some of the things that Alper kind of highlighted with the balances of, a podcast or ads and what have you? Would love your thoughts on that.
If I can interject on this one, I don't know the specifics of your business, but there are, okay, I have to tread carefully here. There are sometimes shortcuts, like before you're fully regulatory approved and this and that. So I've worked with quite a few different fintech startups who have been through the stages that you're going through. I would just say maybe spend like 1 or 2 days like doing a bit of research in terms of how to shape and sequence your go-to-market strategy, because there are going to be things that you can do right now already to build the visibility, credibility, etc. And there's going to be parts of your product which we can go to market with, staying regulated without having to go through the whole, it took me 3 years to get FCA regulated sort of things that a lot of these startups go through. Obviously, this would be like with caveats and like, asterisks, but you need to be mindful about how you want to sequence your different go-to-market strategy with the current shape of your product. What type of customers can you go after with what kind of marketing? Because you have to be also very careful about marketing when you're operating in the fintech space. But going to your first networks, talking about things, showing up, joining fintech specialist accelerators, going to your school networks and talking about your product, etc., etc. These are all things that you can do while everything else is in progress. So diagnose well where you are. What can you sell today versus what can you sell tomorrow by going through those regulatory steps, and create your marketing strategy accordingly and sequence them accordingly, I would say.
That's very helpful. Thank you, Alper.
Of course.
We have only last 2 questions. Shall we cover those as well? Maybe Palmer, I'll give it to you if you're online. She has a question about the deep tech company. Let's see if she's around. If not, I will let Bobolo. Palmer is online. Okay.
And to Bura, I'm going to say you've done the right thing by being in this webinar for the EIS, SEIS, because I think in the panel you'll have people you can reach out to afterwards.
Exactly. Thanks for highlighting it. Palmer,
Yeah.
can you make yourself unmute or?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I was referring to systems that you combined with like low-powered systems that are forwarding telemetry and machine learning. I just wanted to know, how would we go about making partnerships in these spaces?
I don't know if we have an expert in the deep tech space, but yeah, we'll maybe Vinay, did you work with any specific? Yeah.
Yeah, I can comment not from the deep tech perspective, but I think technically innovative propositions which are on the cusp of, let's say, becoming commercial solution. I think what we always try to identify is, first of all, the university route, that is the technology ready to become a commercial solution at that stage. And if it's not ready, then which are the right universities in the UK to take the company over the line, and they can apply for Innovate UK grants or some local grants to prove that. The second approach we always suggest is science technology facilities in the UK, STFC. So these are the science parks spread in Harwell in Oxford, Daresbury in Warrington, and Edinburgh. And these are quite amazing in terms of their facilities. Their only job is to look at some of the deep tech technologies and help them identify either some of the pilots or some of the last push on the technology readiness level, which is required. The third partnership element you can look at is catapults in the UK, which are often not very discussed about, but they are quite powerful technology centers in the UK where they can actually help you identify a corporate as well if you have a particular application of your technology in a corporate environment. So they work quite closely with the corporates and also SME segment and act as a connector if there is a right technology for a problem statement which corporates are dealing with. So these are some of the partnerships which exist. And again, it doesn't cost you much. They are fully funded from UK government, but then there are commercial partners as well who can do it or do it on a more of a commercial basis.
Thank you for that. I was referring more from the point of view from a PhD student transitioning into business. So, i.e., contacting your IP team at the university. For example, I'm at the University of UE at the moment, and
Okay.
I'm transitioning into business, and I'm finding it not difficult, but trying to understand the roadmap from research to commercialization, and what are the routes for partnerships. So yeah, the catapults is something that sounds really interesting. I look into that, and the others. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vinay. Bob has a question for Joshita, but I don't know if he's online. Maybe he can connect you on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I can drop my email and then I can take it offline and connect
Okay, yes.
personally as well. So thank you very
Let's
much.
do that. Elif, maybe you can share our like a QR code for our Linktree. I think we're over time already. I would like to thank everyone and all the speakers and attendees for joining today's sessions. I hope you find it useful. Again, we will share slides, and feel free to reach out to us basically for any questions. And hope to see you on our next event. So
Thank you so much, Ada and Khan. It was lovely to see all of you.
Thank you.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.
everyone.
Thank you all.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Ciao.